Here's 3 big mistakes you want to avoid when investing in property. You'll lose time, money, effort and stress if you do them. So avoid these 3 things. Let's get into it. And just before we get into it, hello, my name is Ryan Eastley. I'm a property investor from South Wales in the UK. I've been investing in single-let properties in South Wales for over 7 years now. I've been helping other people globally invest in South Wales as well for over 3 years now. We have a sourcing company and a property investment company, and that's me. So let's jump into it. Let's go. So number 1, the biggest mistake people make that I see consistently is not keeping it simple. So keeping it simple in property is absolutely essential. And what do I even mean by this? So a lot of people reach out to me through social media, through YouTube, etc., because we have marketing channels on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. They reach out saying, Ryan, I want to get into property. I want to maximize, I want to make money from it. I want to create generational wealth, create a legacy. And I want to do HMOs, commercial conversions. I want to do all, they see the dollars and they want to chase after it. Now, the most successful people that I've ever met and invested with who invest in property keep it simple. They do one strategy extremely aggressively, and that strategy aligns with their end goals, what their targets are, what their future goals are. And they keep a realistic time frame in mind. The point I'm getting to is they do one strategy. They do one thing extremely well. They have if they do BR, they have a good build team, they have good solicitors, they have good brokers. If they do HMOs, they understand the model extremely well. They're not diversifying their strategy too much. And when I say strategy, I literally mean BRs, buy-to-lets, I mean SA, service accommodation for Airbnb, HMOs. They've got all these different strategies. They just do one. And keeping it as simple as possible will benefit you. It will reduce stress, and it will mean that you just have one goal. And this feeds me on perfectly onto when people look to plan property, when they sit down and say what they want from it, and this is the most important thing, when they sit down and they say they want to invest in it, the most important thing, and one of the first things that I talk to every investor with or potential client with, what do you want out of it? Where are you now financially, goal-wise, etc., and where do you want to be? What are your goals? What do you want out of it? In 5 years' time, what do you want property as an investment vehicle to give you? And this is why it's important to keep it simple, because if you know where you are and you know where your end goal is, you can then work backwards to say, how realistic is that based on my current circumstances? And if it's not realistic, how can I still achieve that regardless? And what strategy allows me to get you there? And just hammer that. Because then it'd be like if it's HMOs and you go in the northeast of England, for example, or northwest, whatever, then at least you got one build team, you got one area that you know very well, and you can keep it, super effective, and you can reduce your stress. You got one contact, etc., or like one source, for example. If you want to do buy-to-lets and then you target South Wales, which is exactly what we help with, like literally you have one person, one team, one area, one location that you know extremely well that works. That's the value of keeping it simple, and then you can compound that. You do 1 buy-to-let, 2 buy-to-let, 3 buy-to-let, and you can compound that. Or if you do commercial conversions, I don't know, in London, for example, you get the point. Have one strategy, keep it simple. It will reduce your stress. It will reduce like the amount of money you lose. It will mean that you invest more effectively and not just invest for the sake of doing it. Highly recommend you keep this really effective method, guys. It will benefit you in the long run. So keep it simple. One goal. Well, you can always chop and change your goals, but your goal and keeping it simple along the way backwards will really help you. And I hope that makes sense. And people really do increase their stress levels because they don't keep it simple. And the clients that I got that definitely keep it simple, number one, they let us crack on with it anyway. But even if they don't work with us, but they still keep it simple, they're making their life a lot easier because they actually know what they want. Property is just an investment vehicle, and you have to know what you want from it in order to gain the benefits. And then you talk to the right person, like ourselves, for example, who can then guide you along that path to find out what's possible. But you have to know what you want from it first, and they keep it simple. So number 2, the second big mistake I see people make, and this one is a little bit more advanced, and I'll feed into why. So I'll hopefully phrase this correctly, right? So a lot of people reach out and they have 100K to invest. They have 100K capital, or let's say 80K capital, right? So it's not enough for a BR and cash to buy, renovate, refinance, because in South Wales, you need probably about 110K to do an all cash BR. So buy, renovate, refinance. The point I'm getting to is they want to do flips and they want to build their capital up, which makes sense. They've got 80k, they want to keep doing flips to get to like, 100k and then do cash buy. That's great. There's a few problems with this, right? So if you've got 80k capital, if you want to do BR, you got to do bridging. If you want to do flips, you got to do bridging. The problem is with doing bridging and flips is the whole point of a flip is that you have a margin of profit. So you literally buy something for 80k, you do a 20k refurb on it, and then you want to sell for 125. So minus all your fees, you've got 20k of expected profit, yada, yada, yada. The problem is, and I'll put this on a whiteboard actually for your benefit. The problem with this is that if you're doing this, if you've got 20k of profit expected on the back end, if your numbers fall correct and you get the put and the sale price you want, big if, because flipping is very, very market dependent and economically dependent, because obviously it takes a buyer to come on the back end and buy it. Depending on that, then you've got your bridging fees, which a bridging loan, for example, bridging finance is just a short-term finance. Think of it as a short-term mortgage for like a 9-month mortgage. Short-term, expensive finance, which is amazing, and don't shy away from it, but just don't use it for small flips, guys. If you've got a 20k profit on the back end expected, that's net, so that's after all costs, and you're using bridging finance, even if you get the price you want, you're probably expecting to make 10k profit. If you don't get the price you want, you break even. Don't do small flips with bridging. And when I say small, guys, what do I mean? I mean standard BR. So, if you're doing a standard BR, buying it for 80k, renovation of 20k, buying it for 80k, renovation of 20k, and then resale of like 125. Standard flip, standard small flip, which for the record I don't touch because the margins are small, but they still work. But if you've got 80k, don't do them. If you've got 120k, which means you can do all cash and you don't have to use bridging finance, definitely consider them. Like they can be very well if you get the right location, right sort of project. Don't shy away from them. This isn't that sort of advice. This is just if you've got 80k or like 70 to 80k, don't do small flips because the profit margins are too small, and then you eat into bridging. Bridging finance takes half your profit straight away, and then that you only make profit if you get the numbers you want. I'll be honest with you guys, we have a lot of flip clients, but I'm not a big fan of flips because they can build your capital up if you do it really well, but they're so reliant on the buy coming on the back end, and I'm very biased that way. But just regardless of my bias, don't do small flips, guys, because the margins don't work. And I'll do a numbers breakdown for you shortly, guys, just for some context so you can see what I mean from a visual point of view. So let's go through the numbers, literally, for a cheaper flip with bridging. The reason for this, just to give you some context on what I'm actually referencing here, in terms of like the numbers and everything. So I've given up a standard flip and basically why you don't do it with bridging. And why it should be avoided. And this only goes for the smaller flips. This goes for the tiny little projects that you're buying for 80k, doing a little touch-up renovation of 20k and reselling for 120. Just protect you guys to not waste your time with it. I'm not saying bridging with flips is bad, because bridging with flips can be amazing, but just on the smaller ones. Just really want to be clear with that. So for context, purchase. This is the project. So buying it for 80k. Costs, including solicitor fees, all extra. This is excluding bridging right now. Excluding bridging. This is just cash. So buying it for 85 all in, including any source of fees. You've got legal fees, etc., etc. So 85k all in. Refurb of 20. So 105 all in, for example. Context. So 80 plus 5 plus 20. So 105 all in. So you're expecting about 20k profit if you get the resale you want. If you get 125, happy days. But then you include the bridging into it. So I would expect, depending on the lender, depending on how long it takes to sell, because bridging finance typically only starts when you actually own the property. So literally as soon as you own it, the lending starts, and then the clock's ticking to get the renovation complete. So let's say the refurb takes 3 months, for example, probably a bit of a long time, be over 20k, but let's say it takes 3 months. You want to get selling it straight away so that someone can, because you don't actually get the bridging until someone pays you upon completion of the purchase. So if they're buying it and you're selling it, until that completes, then their mortgage is going to pay off your bridging and everything. So until that moment, you're stuck in a bridge and you're paying interest every month. So let's say you're paying, 1% lending every single month, this is going to really add up. So just be really careful with it in that sense, because you want to get out of the bridging ASAP. Hope that makes sense, because if you're paying 1% interest every month, you also got an additional solicitor. So this is going to be one solicitor as a cash buy. When you're bridging, you will have an additional solicitor, the lender solicitor. So when you're doing all this, you got to factor both sides in. You got one solicitor, you got two solicitors, you got interest on your bridging, exit fees, they can accumulate. I would expect, if we're on time, if this flip process takes, for example, 9 months, I would expect this to cost around about 10 grand, if not a little bit more, with all the additional bridging and lender costs. And that's why this is so dangerous, because that is only profitable if you get the 125 resale. And if you don't, then you're breaking even and the whole year is wasted because you put money into something and broke even with it. That's why flipping is higher risk. If it's done with cash, it makes a lot more sense. But with bridging, don't do it, guys. Especially these smaller ones. I think that was about that. Timescales as well, just to add for a bit of additional value. In terms of time frames, if you're doing a flip, I would expect 9 months, maximum 12. The reason is, if you've got a project called Bob Street and you're buying it for, let's say, 3 months maximum, let's be over the top, but let's say 3 months purchase, conveyancing, refurb, let's say 3 months, for example, doing a full renovation, you're going to want to advertise it and have a buyer. If a buyer is buying with a mortgage, that's going to take about 3 months at least, I'd say, minimum. So the whole process optimistically takes 9 months, but then realistically, you've got 3 months of advertising. So I would say purchase 3 months, then I'd say renovation 3 months, then I would say advertise 0 to 3 months, and then this is maximum, I'd say, and then sell to complete within 3 months. So I'd say the maximum time frame that you want for a flip would be 12 months. Flips can be incredibly profitable, and some people do incredibly well. But you got to be talking to the right people. And this is the beauty of Talk to Us. Literally, if you're sat there wanting to do a flip or buy and hold, we do this every day. Again, we do 12 projects a year for ourselves. We help nearly 100 people a year invest and build a portfolio in South Wales themselves and do flips as well. About a quarter of our projects are flips, hence why we know this model incredibly well. So it's always best to book in a call to brainstorm what options are available and what makes most sense depending on your circumstances. But I hope this makes a lot more sense for you. Excuse the shorts, just been out for a run. But yeah, I hope this all makes sense and you got some value from it. And if it didn't, let me know in the comments. So problem number 3. So this problem is very, very common in the sense of people are not patient enough. And the problem actually is that people have a short-term view on property. People want to get in property, make a quick buck, and it just doesn't work that way. It can, but most people advertising that are just trying to sell you a course or something. The reality is, when you're actually investing in property, when you're actually trying to make money from it, trying to monetize it, create a business that actually cash flows from property, it can work. But 90% of the people that I talk to who are our clients or interested in working with us, they want to build a legacy. They want to build financial freedom for themselves and their family and work less and have more of a side income via property. And it doesn't happen overnight, guys. All clients that we work with, for example, have a 5-year plan with us so that every year we know what's going on. And to be honest with you, if you want to go into it and earn an extra grand a month within 12 months, you're going to have to take on higher risk strategies like HMOs, like flips, etc., etc. And naturally, if you take on the higher risk strategies, you're going to be at higher risk and you could even lose money. So I always recommend, and maybe I'm biased on this, I always recommend do low risk, high scale strategies like buy-to-lets, which is exactly what we do in South Wales, by the way. That's exactly our portfolio sourcing company, what we do as a company. And what we do for our own portfolio, we're currently buying 2 properties ourselves right now, and then we're going to scale that up to about 12 this year with that same strategy. Point is, I see more logic in doing low risk, high scale, where you build a buy-to-let portfolio and you actually grow it that way, where you got a diversified portfolio. And even if you have issues with 1 or 2 of them, you've still got a large enough portfolio to counteract those 2. And if you build a large enough portfolio, it's very profitable, but it takes time to accumulate. And this is why flips, HMOs, and commission conversions are high risk strategies, because they can be extremely profitable, but they are higher risk. Naturally, the higher risk, and you're dealing with large numbers. And I always say to any client, if you want to get involved in them, do buy-to-lets first. Get your foundational portfolio started first, or foundational portfolio experience started. To get your experience started and to understanding buy-to-lets, then move on to maybe SA, then HMOs, then flips, like etc. etc. Now, obviously, people reach out to us, want to work with us for our guidance with this. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do this on your own, definitely do buy-to-lets first. Understand it. Get the key foundation started. Like we offer earn and learns where people can work with us and learn alongside it to kind of understand it. That's kind of why we integrated that. But that aside, just genuinely speaking now, like even if you didn't work with us, for example, like if you wanted to just invest in property in London or the North where we don't operate, for example, like start with your buy-to-lets first, get your foundational knowledge up, work with a good team who can help you and actually build a credible, like more of a trustworthy network, let's say, and then you can build it from there, and then you can look at the high risk strategies. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to be chasing a shiny penny and it never works. The best people I know who've invested in property always recommend, after years of experience, don't invest for the shiny penny syndrome where you're chasing the grand a month golden nuggets, because they come few and far between, and you're going to be left frustrated and likely lose money at the start and then be deterred afterwards because you've lost money and you're like, oh, well, it doesn't work then. The best strategies I've ever seen are when people start small, have a long-term view that's simple. You can see how all three of these points feed into one. Keep it simple and then scale up that way. And the best and smartest people and most experienced people I've ever watched and learnt from do it that way. And it's exactly what I do myself. When I say other people, I'm doing the exact same thing myself because we all learn together. I've always invested in buy-to-lets, and that's one thing that I'm very biased with, but that's because I can see the benefits of it. So that's what I highly recommend. Have a long-term view and keeping it really simple. Go from there, and you can see how all these feed into one. You can see how two of these feed into the same niche. So I hope you found some value with this video. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. We always look to improve the channel. So if you've got any recommendations to improve the channel, etc., hit the comments, comment in there anything that we can improve on. And more importantly, what do you guys want to know? What do you guys want to know? Is there anything that we're not touching on the channel? We do a lot of projects on the channel in terms of actual clients and ourselves and our own projects, and we try to do one a week if possible, because we have about 6 to 8 new projects a month going at the moment. So we've got a lot to showcase and a lot of literally practical properties to actually show. But if there's certain things you guys want to see in the channel, comment it below. We're always open. There's no right or wrong answer. Like if you want to kind of see more about, lending, I'm actually going to interview my broker in the next probably 14 days. So keep an eye on the channel for that one. Be sure to subscribe as well, because if you subscribe, you're going to see the channel, and we just aim for value. Like this whole channel, I try to make every video where it's value focused, where you can kind of see what's going on, see what we do. And obviously these are more informative, so you can kind of get more context alongside the actual projects. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment any improvements that you think or any ideas that you want to see, and we'll definitely take that on board, and I'll try to reply to it and go from there. If you want to get investing with us and you see some of the other projects that you see on the channel, be sure to watch the other videos, because you can kind of see the physical projects we actually invest in and have clients investing in from anywhere in the world. If you want to get involved and start building up your buy-to-let portfolio in South Wales, I'm going to put a link in the description to the video. On the link, send us to the website. On the website, booking a call with us. On a call is just us brainstorming where you are, where you want to get to, keeping it simple, making a long-term plan. You see the trend, right? So yeah, definitely book that in if you want to. And the call isn't to just sell you on something. It's just to kind of say, like, where do you stand right now financially? What are your goals? For context, like the past 4 clients that worked with us, we help over 80 people a year, if not 100 people a year at the moment. So we've done this for 3.5 years now. We've got a significantly good network that we work with: builders, brokers, solicitors, every element, full end-to-end service. And yeah, we built it from there. So literally, if you book in a call, we'll have a chat, see what your goals are, where you want to get to, and then go from there. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you didn't, let me know. Speak soon.